What is consciousness? The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mystery of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question that has captivated human minds for centuries. Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, yes, yes. Hello again, and welcome to the live stream of consciousness. My name is Michael Zinn, and we are here to explore the very fabric of our thoughts. I think that's what Jesse said in the intro. Jesse Blaze, of course, with the great intro. Thank you always for contributing to this show. Yeah, it's December 28th. Wow, it's the last show of the year. It's been a really interesting and good year at the live stream of consciousness. I did not put in for vacation this week, so here I am doing a show. Of course, that's silly. I love doing this. I love having amazing conversations with people and sharing them with you guys. So thank you guys for always being here. I see we've got Tim out there in Brazil. Hola. Jilly's here. We got Helen here. Excellent. I'm hoping for some of Shaboogiemax's fans. And if you don't know what a Shaboogiemax is, I'm going to explain it. Shaboogiemax is a very cool internet personality, Instagram personality, TikTok, all of these things, who a friend of mine, Jilly Marie, a friend of the show, we all know Jilly, turned me on to and said, hey, I think you should talk to this guy. And I was looking at his content, and I definitely felt like we should talk to him. I think the show is an interesting place for me to stage these conversations, but also I think it's meant to kind of put me in connection and cross paths with people I'm supposed to talk to. So I'm excited to talk to him tonight. I also see a new name out there. What's up, Margarita? Good to see you out there. I see you're watching on YouTube. I have this bell usually nearby me that if you subscribe and say, hey, I subscribed, I ring it. I actually ring it out loud. It's not just like hit the bell. I ring the bell. I'm looking for it. It's usually nearby. But if you subscribe, I'll try to find it and ring it. And I have people already saying hola to Shaboogie. I haven't even brought him on yet. So I guess that means I'm supposed to bring him on, and we'll talk more about what it all means. What is a Shaboogiemax? So welcome to the show, Shaboogiemax. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You can't get it wrong. Yes.
I love that answer. You can't get wrong.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, Jill, from the show here, from our audience, our community, turned me on to your stuff. And it was amazing to see your message and my reflection in you.
Cool.
Which
Love
is
that.
part of your message, which is also part of the message we talk about here all the time. It's we talk about how everything is energy, and how it's all connected. And the message that we both share is very simple, and that is we're all connected, and be accountable for what you contribute to that collective. Love is the answer, basically, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you contribute that love, you get it back. So anyway, also I see another new name, Brooks, Awakening Thoughts. Ooh, I like that. Welcome to the show. This is so cool. Yes, this is so cool. One thing I like about this, I see Grace Grella out there. What's up, Grace? About this is that, you look back probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and social media was such a landscape of division and fighting, and it still is there, but I think a lot of people have embraced this to make connections, have important conversations, and share them, and kind of contribute that vibe. That's what I contribute to the collective. So welcome to the show. I'm excited to talk to you, but there's a couple things we got to get out of the way. And I love this part of the show, and it usually just seamlessly leads to the next part of the show, and that is the question: what is consciousness? What is consciousness to you?
Well, I've heard a lot of ways that's described. I like the idea that it's an emergent thing, which it just means that it just shows up. It doesn't have an agenda. I think creation doesn't have an agenda, and it's experience. I think consciousness is experience. We're lucky to have the consciousness that we know that we are aware, right? I am that I am,
Mhm,
and then I'm more than this body, and which I don't think necessarily. Well, maybe some animals already have that. Who knows?
mhm, mhm.
Um, one thing I know is I don't know anything. That's what I know.
Right. The more you learn, the less you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I see the quiet out healer out there. Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. Yeah, I like that. It's an emergent energy. It's experience, and I think part of what I was saying about energy and all being connected, it's that's what's so cool, right? It's like whatever experience I'm having is my part of the grander experience, right? The big experience that
yeah,
everybody has. I saw a cool thing today, um comparing everybody as an enzyme in the digestive system of creation, and we're all just digesting reality and experiencing it in our own way and processing it. So that's pretty cool stuff.
I love
um
it.
I want to talk to you about your spiritual awakening, because you have your own channel below here, Shaboogiemax.me. That's, I guess, that's like all your links, or is that
Yeah,
just yeah,
yeah,
that's like
that's
a link
everything.
tree, where you can find all about Neil, who we'll talk about what a Shaboogiemax is. But I love your spiritual awakening is through crypto, and that's a
Yeah,
very interesting approach that I don't think I've ever talked about. So I'm excited to talk about that. But I want to ask if there's a moment that you can share that you remember kind of realizing that there was more to it. Like there was this, like you said, I am me, but I am more than that. So is there a moment that you kind of realize that you remember?
yeah. It's funny because looking backwards, you realize it was always there. You know, like
Yeah.
you can feel into your 7-year-old self and all the magic that was making your life work when you were 7, and your imaginary friends
Hmm.
and all that stuff, and you can say, okay, it was there then. And then you can look even to when you were older, and let's say I moved across the world to another country, and I could say, okay, it was there then, and you
Hmm.
realize it just never was not around.
Right.
Um, I mean, I just was always such a lucky person that it's kind of ridiculous that I didn't see it earlier, I suppose,
Hmm.
until probably I started um, me- tinkering with my life and things started to go wrong, but I still always landed on my feet
Hmm.
in a really nice way where the parts of me, even though to the outside it might have looked bad, I was actually having a great time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so that's when I started to really realize it's like a prank going on here. And yeah, and if you believe that this creation. So to answer your question, is there a specific time? I had a private wealth management company that I owned and had 4 employees and managed like 30 or $40 million. And then I wanted so that became a reality. So I realized something else was going on here because I went on the journey of, that was a pie in the sky dream, and then that came true.
Hmm.
Um, and then I wanted to start a cryptocurrency hedge fund, and I did that, and that opened up a lot of things for me, and then that got shut down by the regulators. It was back during a time when it was really unclear what the regulators thought about cryptocurrency hedge funds. So in hindsight, it may not have been the smartest decision, but it was the
Right.
best decision I ever made because it woke me up.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I went through in the beginning, I spent like a week in jail, which isn't a lot. I'm
Wow.
thankful for that. And then I had an attorney, like a high paid one, and I remember the money showed up for that. And then later on the journey, I went back through the court system and I didn't hire an attorney. I represented myself and
Mm.
I came out the other side good. Well, actually, I got what I wanted out of it.
Wow.
Um, and then, so yeah, you just start to realize this thing's an illusion and it's mirroring you back to you. And I'll take it a step further. It's
Mm.
not even mirroring you back. It is you. It is you. Like
Mhm.
consciousness doesn't live in your body, come through your pineal gland and activate you this way. Your body is inside of the consciousness that is your surroundings, that is where you live, that is the people that you know. And when you start to look at it like that, I made this choice. I made a choice where I choose to live in the end results of a life that I love. Okay.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
took it a step further and I said, I choose to live in the end results of a life that all parts of me loves. And that includes you, Michael. You're a part of me.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
when I start thinking that way, I start making choices that are not just good for me, right? I start making choices that are good for all the parts of me. And then I'm more open to compromise. I'm more open to um new solutions that I never thought of before. I'm just
Mhm.
more unattached
Wow.
actually.
Yeah.
And and that brought me a lot of peace.
Yeah, it's interesting you're telling me this story and this kind of point of view, and I'm thinking too. Last night I was traveling home from Christmas. It was
Yeah.
late. The flights had been delayed, and I was on a plane, and we were in a layover, but it was a plane we weren't switching, so we were
Okay.
staying on the plane. I needed to go to the bathroom, and I went up to the front to wait for the bathroom, and there's a woman who was at the front of the plane waiting for a wheelchair, and she was so upset. She's like, "Oh, you'd think that they would have someone waiting and this and that and all of this stuff." And I certainly understood where she was coming from. And this is kind of what you're talking about, being able to see your reflection in everybody. But I also understood that the airline was understaffed. There were these massive delays going on. And like
Yeah.
the moment is now. You can decide whether to be miserable and complain that there's no one waiting for you or just wait
Yeah.
patiently, you know what I mean? And be like, okay, oh well, this is the way it went. It wasn't not the way I would have wanted it to go, but here I am. So how am I going to spend this moment? You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't take it to that. I think that um will the will to do that is like a
Yeah.
few layers deep, right? And I think that the
Mhm.
outer layers stuff happens and people are kind of um I don't want to use the word conditioned. I learned not to use that word. But we grow up and I think that we have these knee-jerk reactions to the situation, instead of just
Yeah.
kind of letting it get a little bit deeper inside of us, and then we can react to that, or
Yeah.
that part of us can react.
Well, what's cool about that word you almost used is that when you're aware of the habit, let's say, it's
Hmm.
no longer a habit, it's a choice.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of what I like, why I love talking about consciousness, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I love having these conversations, because I feel like it's so easy. Some of these things, right? They're just so easy. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of intention and awareness. And I think I hope that these conversations reach people and they get that. All of a sudden, it's just like, bing, oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that new movie that everyone's talking about. You probably have, with Julia Roberts.
Uh-uh.
No, okay, so Leave the World Behind, I think it's called, and it's about
Uh-huh.
a day that the everything goes wrong in the United States, like it's some sort of cyber
Uh-huh.
attack, and it's like
Yeah.
apocalyptic almost in a way.
Uh-huh.
But the main character is, you see the way she interacts with people, and she's so miserable, and I felt like it was put there for people to be like, "Oh crap, that's me." You know what I mean? Like that's how I treat
Sure.
people, and that's the result of it, right? Like that you're being presented the
Uh,
result of it, and I think again that's important, and that's why I always ask that question. I guess, what is consciousness? I want people to be aware that it's something that they can control, and just by understanding that that's them, which
that's
is very
cool. I
exciting.
like that. Yeah. I like the idea that there's an intelligence at work here.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that intelligence is working through me right now. It's
Hmm.
working through Michael. And if you're here, it's working through the cell phone I have hooked up and the rig I have going. It's working through Michael's rig. It's working through YouTube. It's working through all of us. And that intelligence mostly just wants to experience. And it doesn't really care much whether it's a negative experience or a positive experience. It just wants to have experience. And so
Mhm.
if you don't know how to guide the intelligence or claim what your own your empowerment, your sovereignty, if you don't know how to do that, then the intelligence will just match you at that level that you're at where you don't know how to do that. And then
Mhm.
if instead you choose to step into your power as this empowered sovereign being that you are, and you take responsibility, which just means the ability to respond to it. It's not some heavy thing that
Ooh, I like
we
that
think,
breakdown.
just the ability to you take responsibility for yourself and your situation and your life and the things that are going on in the world. Whoa, where did I contribute to that? Why am I seeing this? Can I? And actually, some people out there want you to believe that you don't have any power, but the truth is you're the most powerful thing going on here. None of this works without you. And
Mhm.
so the
Mhm.
more you take ownership in that sense of the word, the more free you are.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And Julie just said, "Allow the intelligence," which
I
is
love
so funny
that.
because
Yes.
actually as she was saying that, and in combination with what you were saying, I was like, "Wow, that's there are a lot of people who are really scared of AI," and that's a bigger conversation. I certainly understand that, but I feel like,
Yes.
it's a threat of the unknown, but, in my perception, it's also it's like progress, right? It's like, I see these arguments happening and I'm like, hey, when photography came around, painters were threatened, that they were going to be put out of work, and it's just progress, and you got to see it that way, and you got to go with the progress, right? I mean, allow the intelligence, which is I just think that's kind of funny. I love
Yeah,
that
allow is such a great
thought.
word too, because
Yeah.
I found another word that's right next to it. It's welcome.
Hmm.
Allow, welcome,
Hmm.
for a
Hmm.
while, part of my life, that helped me
Embrace,
a lot.
embrace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
embrace. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Very cool. Awesome. Well, we're definitely on the same page, which I love, and I love
Yeah.
that you are out there. Your Instagram messages are really awesome and encouraging, and I love that kind of a content. And another new name out there. What's up, Brett? Welcome. And Brett says, "Let go," that's
Yeah.
actually interesting, right? That embrace and let go can mean the same thing, right?
Well, I think it's beautiful. The words let go are when you realize you're all one, right? You're not really actually letting go, or you're just sort of refocusing in a new way. So let go is beautiful. The other words that I found instead of letting go that I really resonate with are remembering wholeness.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Remembering wholeness.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Uh,
a lot of people put the spiritual journey, which is just again another term for it, in
yeah.
that way, like remembering where they came from and who they are, and that they're part of this
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
one,
Like you said, how connected we really truly are
right?
is perhaps immeasurable. We
Yeah.
don't know how to, but we feel it. We feel it. If you've ever given to somebody when they were down,
Hmm.
the feeling that you had when you gave to them,
Hmm.
then you feel the connectedness because
Right,
how great you felt when you did that. Whatever
right.
that person's response was in that moment, you felt it through their voice. It was a heart thing.
Right.
And so we really are all in this together.
Yeah, and that's what that story I just told about that woman,
Uh,
my response to her was like, "Oh, that sucks, they're really understaffed, I feel bad for the people who work here," kind of trying to turn it around so she wasn't so angry, and she still decided to hang in her anger a little bit, but I definitely did feel it come down just a bit, at least in respect to me being there and
yeah.
giving her that response. She respected me and didn't like elevate to the next level. She was just like kind of still like, yeah. The guy showed up, "Hey, you waiting for a wheelchair?" And she was like, "Yes, sir." And I was like, "Okay, have a good
Yeah.
one." It's all you can do is just be loving to that kind of energy, and it's tough, I think, at times, but um cool. So I definitely want to talk to you. I was talking in the intro a little bit about how I feel like this show puts me on the in through the path of people that I'm supposed to meet. And so I know for
Yeah.
me, I'm a happy guy, but I certainly am trying to. am trying to word what I'm about to say very intentionally because that's the thing I do. But finances has always been kind of like something I need to navigate a little bit better.
Okay.
And so I would love to know. I mean, you said that's where you started. You started in finance even before you kind of had your spiritual
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Uh,
I went to school for economics. I
okay.
was I was one of those 21-year-old financial advisors who, would put out lunch and learn vases at your local restaurant, and it would say, like, "Put your business card in here for a chance to win lunch for you and 5 to 10 of your friends and family." And
Mhm,
then I would call everybody who put their business card in there, and I would reserve a table, so you would come.
mhm,
I'd have a table reserved. You'd place your food and drink order, and then I'd give a quick spiel on financial planning, and before I left, before your food hit the table, I'd give you a comment card of what areas you wanted to learn more about, and then I was inviting you down into the office to talk to my manager who was then going to you were gonna become a client of American Express is who I was working for then,
mhm.
and, and I always had a lot of luck with it just because I think I'm just happy, you know? I just
Sure. Yeah.
I'm kind of a smiley guy, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of luck and I did well and ended up at a bank and was in the corner office during the 2008 financial crisis. I had a corner office at a bank as a private client advisor. I don't remember how old I was exactly then, but
Mhm.
I was pretty young. Maybe 28, 29, something like that. And then yeah, so I worked for, like, some different corporations, some really big companies that did investments for clients, and then I started my own company. I bought a company actually after I left PricewaterhouseCoopers,
Well,
and then I just kept wanting to level it up and level it up. It's like almost like it was never enough when I had 2 houses and the cars that anybody would ever want, and, um, there was a part of me inside that I had stuffed things under the floorboards. Probably a relationship with my dad comes to the
well,
top of mind,
mm,
or a lack of thereof in
right.
those years,
Mhm, mhm,
and even some disconnection with my mother. I had a stepfather who died, and so I just had taken these not worthy feelings and stuffed them down under the floorboards, and
uh-huh,
then would sort of drink, and I don't I thankfully didn't have the drinking gene where you just go off I was a high functioning alcoholic is what I
right.
was, and,
Party
and
boy.
s yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and society approves of that one, all the plant
Yeah,
medicines, those are drugs, but those are, um, reminders of states of being that we can reach by
mhm,
ourselves, I believe, and
mhm,
alcohol is the one that disconnects you. My favorite example is like my kids, right? Back then I had like nannies and stuff like that, and I just met up with one that was a nanny actually a few weeks ago, and she's doing great. And it was like when you drink alcohol, you want to be separate from your kids,
mm,
right? And if
mhm.
you were to like smoke some marijuana, you'd be like, "Hey, let's build a castle together."
That's great. I
But
love
the one
that.
that separates you, that's the one that's in all the movies, and that's the one you see on your screen, and that's down at the store, and there's a store probably not too far away from you. But the
Right.
ones that are not, the ones that are more inclusive were made more wrong. And so
Okay.
you just start looking at society and you're like, there's all these booby traps sort of laid around you that are
Mhm.
easy to fall into. And so I found the booby traps around finance and,
Well,
um, yeah, I think it was part of my agreement. It was my highest excitement to investigate that.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so I found them, and there are some common ones that even people in the spiritual community fall into.
mhm.
Um, there are some common ones that the crypto community falls into. There are some common there's just all these booby traps waiting for you. And
Yep,
it's like if you once you've fallen in it a few times, you know how to walk around it. And I
yeah.
like to hike that trail so much that I'm happy to support others in that journey.
Awesome. Well, I love that, and that's definitely something I wanna talk to you about. So for me, and maybe I can just start addressing it this way even because I feel like a lot of spirituality and realizing things about yourself is also a lot like therapy. Like you just started talking to me, you're like, you know, my dad, and
Yeah.
you know, you kind of realize these things. So for me, I actually grew up in a fairly wealthy neighborhood, but my
Cool.
family was not as wealthy as the other families in the neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, and I say that because I know I grew up, you know, better than a lot of people, you know,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't as good as all of the people around me. So
Got it.
so for me, I started to have this attitude that, you know, money is the root of all evil, and all of this
Sure.
materialism and all of this stuff was really bad. And I think
Cool.
that formed my belief system around money, which is why I'm again talking about trying to refocus the way I navigate that, you know, that
Yeah.
landscape, you know. And so I guess my question would be, you know, how do you break out of that mindset? You know, I mean, I don't know if you've even ever
Yeah.
had that mindset. It sounds like you always kind of knew that that was, you know, an important thing, and it is an important thing. And just before you answer, I do realize that money is a it's an energy form. It's you
Yeah.
know, you've got to view it that way and exchange it that way, and that's you know where I've tried to refocus my navigation. And I do feel like you said, when I wasn't worried about it was when it just showed up when it needed to, you know, when I
Yeah.
just lived and I didn't think about it. And I think at one point in my life, you know, in the past 10 years or whatever it was, you know, it started to get a little bit thinner, and I started living, you know, just paycheck to paycheck. And
Yes.
and then it became a fear.
Got
And
it.
then I think so that's again, that's where I'm at now. Actually, that's not where I'm at now. Let me say things are much more easy. Things are coming to me like
Yes.
opportunities, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
freelance jobs and things where people are like, "Hey, you know how to do this?" And people are actually almost even offering me money, like, "Hey, I
Cool.
can pay you to help me with this." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I definitely see a result of changing my mindset. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
absolutely, you know, there's no doubt to it. You know what I mean? It's like even the simplest philosophies that I profess here about, you know, hey man, all you got to do is think positive. You know, I'm a human being, and I have those, you know, the outside things that do affect me. Although most of the time I'm able to look inside and say, hey, I'm in charge here, right? Just like you're
Yeah.
saying. So anyway, so back to the question. Do you have any advice for me in there, in
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Well, advice is, it's more like I'm a guide and I'm helping you remember,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you already have this inside of you. I'm just bringing it up to the service for
Mhm.
you to play with.
Please
So the
do.
first thing I would recommend to anybody who wants to change anything in their lives, including money, is meditation. And the reason for that is it actually has an immediate benefit of you feel good now. You feel great now. And it starts to rewire your brain because before you were like, "Oh, I need these things to happen for me to feel good." Like I
Mhm.
need a safe house, like things that you would normally want and deserve, but you needed those things in order to be feel good. But when you start meditating, two things happen. One is there is some moments of meditation where you stop all thought. And all those previous belief systems, they were previous thoughts that had frequency in your life. And so
Mhm.
when you stop all thought, it's like a string on the guitar or something. You stop playing that string. You stop that belief. You stop that
Right,
thought. Okay.
right.
So then you wake up and it's like, well, now what? Well, now you could start saying things like, I choose. So there's a word that a lot of people use, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's this word trying.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the idea is that we're always talking to your subconscious, and your subconscious is beating your heart right now, right? So, and breathing for you until we like intentionally take some deep breaths, which by the way, this is a good moment. Take a deep breath, right? Take another one.
Yeah.
You can even take one more and hold it. Take this one in and hold it. And you start to realize how good you feel when you come into the now, and how everything is perfect in the now, and you have everything that you need in the now, and that things are always working out for you in the now. And and that's what presence does, and that's what meditation does. It brings you back into the now. And if you practice that, I learned transcendental meditation,
Oh,
and it was for people who were determined people, people that wanted to
mhm.
like start hedge funds and stuff like that I was up to back then. And
Right.
the idea is you do it 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. And
Mhm.
my ego grabbed onto that. I was like, yes, I can do that. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And so it started to chill me out
Mhm.
because I had crazy stuff going on in my life. But in here, I found peace. There's a whole
Mhm.
world. There's all these dimensions in here, man. You just close your eyes and you go to
Yeah.
actually probably where you come from is in there, and
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
really the base reality out here. This is a beautiful co-creation
Mhm.
that came from a template reality, which you have access to when you dream at night and when
Mhm.
you learn how to meditate. So
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
so that's the first thing is I would say is meditate. And for people that say that that's hard, watch a flame, like get a lighter and turn it on and watch, or light a candle and watch
Right.
that,
Right.
it's just
And
something that you,
focus on it, and like
yeah,
truly
you're
just like,
focused, but you're
yeah.
not so focused. You're focused on it loosely where it's like,
Right.
you can't really think about too much else, but things will still come. And then the mantra meditations, which is transcendental meditation, you're saying a mantra in your mind, like broom, broom, shroom, shroom, shroom. Um, and then so the thoughts come and they kind of bounce off of those, and you just keep going. And eventually you lose the mantra, and that's where you hit the 0 point field. And in the beginning, it might take you 18 minutes of going shroom, 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 shroom inside your
Right.
mind for you to
Right.
hit the 2 minutes where you actually just peace out. So set the timer. And if you come to at 17 minutes, go, no, I'm going back in, and make it to 20 minutes, because those last 2 minutes you will bliss out. Sometimes you will have tears coming down your face,
Mhm.
that because you hit this creation, you hit where creation comes from.
Right.
And that starts to, then you're holding the experience that my outside world is not me. This
Right.
company that's going away, my reputation is going away, my marriage is going away, these things, or that just left, or whatever they are, the money, whatever the thing is, you're like, oh, but that's not me.
Right.
I can actually, wow, why am I happier than I was when I had $30,000 a month coming in? And, but I'm happier just now in this now, and I have $0 in my pocket. Wait,
Right.
that's messed up. Nobody told me that wait a second. It can be more peaceful to have nothing, zero, than to have a lot. Whoa, wait a second. What is going on here?
Right. Right.
Because when you have nothing, you don't have to think about who you have to pay next, when those automatic things come out of your account, how you're going to make something happen. You just gave
Right.
it all to God, and you're just like, I made it this far. I'm alive.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've got some great responses out there. Golden Nuggets, thank you, 100%.
Love,
Awesome. Um,
love,
Tamara's here saying, "Pardon me for being late." You're not late.
love.
You're right on time. This is when you're supposed
Perfect
to get here,
timing.
right? And
Perfect.
in our belief system, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Um, and this is from a little while ago. Brett Burton says, "I stopped drinking after I read that alcohol extracts the spirit." Back when we were talking about
Mhm,
drinking alcohol. Interesting that they do call alcohol spirits now, isn't it?
mhm,
Uh, and Joey saying challenge the belief systems. Yeah, I think
mhm.
that again, the stuff that you say makes so much sense. And there's this element of faith that you need to have, because sometimes it feels abstract, right? Like, oh man, everything's all right, even though I am living month to month or whatever it is, everything is all right. I'm alive, I'm breathing, you gotta gratitude. There are certain things that, like you were saying, that you can practice, meditation
Yeah.
and gratitude, and certain things you can practice. um, Awesome. Thank you. Everything happens for a reason. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Even this moment with me and Neil talking. So what is life like for you now? Tell me what life is like for you now.
Well, it moves faster than ever before.
Mhm.
So it used to take me a year working at a certain job or in a certain relationship, or 10 years to get the message
Mhm.
that comes. It's like in the Matrix movie where you can just download the video game. I know Kung Fu now.
Right, right, right.
It's like that. Yeah, I get everything that I need to know when I need to know it. Not
Mm.
necessarily 2 weeks before I need to know it, but also not a day after I need to know it.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
that kind of freedom makes you very powerful,
mhm,
because that includes money. I get all the money I need, not necessarily 2 weeks before I need it,
mhm.
but not a day later than I need it.
Right.
And I also get it's everything that you want in your life. It's all here now. It's already here now. You just have to realize it. So what that means is you have senses. You have 5 senses: your sight, your hearing, your feeling, touch, smell,
Mhm.
and
Taste, yeah.
yeah, taste. So those senses, you sort of limited yourself to only those senses so that you could be guided through this adventure, we'll call it, by your higher mind. And your higher mind is up on the mountaintop. It's not really higher than you, by the way, but it's your
Mhm,
super consciousness. It's on the mountaintop. You're in the valley, and your
mhm,
higher mind talks to you. And the language that it uses to speak to you is your highest excitement.
mhm,
And
mhm,
through your heart, what does your heart want to do right now? And and when you come down to something, it's like, well, I do this because I should do it. Well, that's perfectly okay. Just do those things that you should do. And then every chance that you can, do what your highest excitement is. Assuming that your highest excitement doesn't break any agreed upon norms that society has agreed upon. Um, you know, so adhere to those, because you put that in your video game too for a reason, to tell you
right.
actually this isn't the way, points is pointing you somewhere else. So follow your highest excitement as much as you can. And the more that you're doing that, you're matching a high frequency. So just think about it in terms of emotions, right? Oh,
Yep.
I'm bummed out that my such and such relationship is gone.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
that's true. You could be bummed out about that. And
Yep.
then, oh, I appreciate this breath. You can't be both. You have to pick one. You
Right,
can't be
right,
bummed out and appreciating the breath. You just got to pick one. So
right.
make the choice, love, freedom, yeah, liberty,
Yeah,
and make the choice to choose liberty, to choose freedom now. Uh,
right.
And that freedom is in being thankful for your breath. And everyone has a breath if you're here right now.
Right,
Otherwise, you wouldn't be
right.
here right now. So
Absolutely.
it starts there, and then it cascades into, oh, I'm thankful for this cell phone. I'm thankful for this. This came. This was a gift to me. This microphone, and
That's awesome.
so you asked me, how's my life now? Well, I have everything that I need, 100% of what I need, which I always
Uh-huh,
had. I always had
uh-huh,
that.
uh-huh.
I have 95% of what I want. And the reason I would say it's only 95% is because 5% is always changing. So I'm okay with that 5% still becoming. And even when I
Yeah.
get that 5%, it gives me a new perspective, and I want to
Right,
change another 5%. And so
right, right, right.
that shifts around. But I have a really, really, really good life. I would say, for me, custom made, custom tailored for me. I
Mhm,
have
mhm.
everything that I ever imagined that I would ever want. Minus perhaps there were moments where I thought I needed like a $40 million house on the beach to be happy.
Right,
That perspective changed for me.
right, right, right,
And
right,
all the big things that like the movies taught you that you needed, or schools taught you that you needed, or teachers or parents and all those things,
right.
you know, I came to terms with, and I'm not trying to convince you that you don't need what you think you need, but you
Right.
don't, by the way, because you just need oxygen and water and some shelter.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
even need to be a house. It could be
And
just
love.
some,
You need love. We need
yeah.
love.
Well, love is
Well,
interesting.
we are love. We are love.
Yeah, because you could have a relationship, right? But it could be with a plant, just something that you nurture that nurtures you
Yeah,
back. It doesn't need to be your
absolutely,
twin
absolutely.
flame or
Right,
whatever.
right, yeah. I didn't mean we need a girlfriend or a boyfriend or anything like that, but love, just and again, as I'm saying it, I'm realizing that, it's not needing to receive love, right? It's needing to give love, because we need to be able to express that love, and
Yeah.
in doing that, I think
Yeah, I
naturally the
like that.
universe will give it back, right? Naturally, the universe will give that love back
Yeah.
in some form, whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the part where you're talking about faith, right?
mhm,
So if you're on faith is great. When hope is great. Once you get to hope, it's all easy from here. I say it's downhill. Imagine you're on rollerblades and you're going to go down the hill now. It's easy once you get to hope. Faith is great too. There's another step that I made called knowing, and that's when you know it in your bones. And frankly, it came to me through pushing the boundaries of what is possible and still getting and keeping my mindset in a place of gratitude and appreciation and love and getting the reflection back. What I learned is it's all one moment. So one moment. It's just one moment. You're living a new perspective today than you were 10 years ago. And so if you can shift your perspective right now, you can have anything that you want right now. Okay. And humans, we got taught things like even law of attraction, it's over there and I need to get it to come to me over here. I don't chase, I attract. Well, there's some truth in that. And it's a state of being. There's that double slit experiment that everyone talks about, but a lot of people don't really know what it is. The idea is that when you observe something, you collapse the wave. So when something happens and I'm like, oh, this is terrible, then I collapse the wave in terrible and watch how it goes, right? It'll be terrible. Something happens and I let it exist for a moment, like a wave. Comes in, crashes on the surface, exists, and then I don't pick it up and play with it, it goes back out.
Right.
And so now it's no longer good or bad. It just is. And it's a part of creation. Therefore, I love it. And something always good comes from what happens. So what do I care what happens?
Right. Right. I love it. I love it. And Jilly says, hug a tree, love. I want to use that moment to ask, because I've recently done that. I've recently actually been outside of my front yard and it's been beautiful sunny day and just a moment. And I was just like, looked at the tree and I was just like, I just want to hug the tree. And it was a magical moment, you know what I mean? Like to actually hug it and just with the intention of connecting through it to Mother Earth and like, you know, kind of a bigger thing. But it was really awesome. And it was just a moment of, it was just all attention and receiving that. So I want to share a couple of things with you that I think you'll like. And then I know you got a couple of people here from your audience, which I appreciate. Thank you guys for coming. I think they'll appreciate this too. One of them is you were just talking about kind of the double slit experiment and quantum theory and stuff. And I've been kind of professing this for the last bunch of days. And this was something I posted, I think a year or two ago. And that is this right here, which is, I don't know if you could see it. Let me see if I can make it question, which is basically the definition of the word realize. And if you look at number one and number two, number one is become fully aware of something as a fact, or just basically that's the observe part. Right. And then number two is to cause something, and make it happen and make it be. So that's the you know, I observed this and I decided that it was this, you know, kind of thing. And the funny thing that I think I did this, I wish I had the graphic handy. Oh, maybe I do. Hold on. Is this the graphic? No, it's not. As I took this and I crossed this out because I realized that this, even this definition had some malevolence behind it. And that is that the examples were, he realized his mistake at once when you observe something. And instead I crossed it out and I wrote, he realized that his dreams were grand, or something like that. And then the second one is, his worst fears have been realized. So I crossed it out and I said, he had realized, or his greatest dreams had been realized. And I just changed it because it just felt so right.
That's cool.
To change this. But I think that was really interesting to me, that the definition of the word realize is basically that amazing explanation. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, you had mentioned sometimes when you are meditating or you're kind of getting yourself into this state, that you have tears streaming down your face because it's such a blissful state. And so that specific thing was another thing I realized that I understood. And this goes back to you also, another thing you said about, you decided that knowing it was something, knowing was the feeling, not believing something, but actually knowing it. Right. So My idea is that moment when you have tears coming down your face, that
Uh-huh.
is an actual definition of when people tell you that thoughts manifest physical reality.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's very abstract and hard to understand. What do you mean? I can think something and then all of a sudden it's physical? But
Yeah.
that moment comes from something you were thinking, right? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden
You're not thinking.
your eyes well up and your throat feels all, you feel it physically, and you've
Yeah.
actually physically manifested those tears out of your eyes,
I
out of
love
your
it.
water ducts. That
Beautiful.
that so that for me, when I cry, when I react to something like that, and it brings
Yeah.
like all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, I'm crying.
Yeah.
I realize that I'm touching my soul at that moment. I'm
Yeah.
actually in that state where I've crossed realms and kind of can touch source, which is really it makes you
Uh-huh.
cry even more. You're like, oh my God, I'm in that moment,
Yeah.
and then you cry some more. But that brings me to kind of I'm going to take this to outer space a little bit for some people,
Cool.
but I know you like it because I was watching one of your videos where you talked about that this very moment, in this millisecond, that my being is shifting across all of these different dimensions or different
Yeah.
aspects of myself.
Yeah.
And I liked what you said about the one on the mountain isn't really a higher self.
Yeah.
It's just an aspect of self. Like you're a part of
Yeah.
that. It's not higher than
Yeah.
you. It's a part of you. I want you to talk about that a little bit. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're a multidimensional being, and there's a part of you who's having this human experience right now, right? And when you go to rest, we're playing with words right now. So instead of saying sleep, because sleep is the opposite of realized, it's implying that you're actually not aware.
Mhm.
Instead, start saying, I'm going to rest. When you go to
Mm,
rest, you go to explore the rest of you and watch your dreams light up tonight as soon as
mm.
tonight. Put
I
a
love
notebook
that.
next to your bed and a pen and have the intention to write down your dreams, and you'll dream like you've never dreamed before because you're going to rest, explore the rest of you.
I love that.
So, yeah, you're a multidimensional being and you landed here on the planet, plop, okay? And then your parents had language, they started talking to you, schools had language. You learned how this world worked from the people around you, right? What year it was, like whose calendar, who's keeping track of this stuff. Like you just learned everything. And you did that so you could interface with this reality. If you didn't absorb that, if you weren't in theta brainwaves when you first got here for the first 7 years of your life, you wouldn't fit into society very well.
Mhm,
So you did that on purpose. And then you followed the rules, you did what the world taught you to do, and you came to a place in your life where you believed there was something more for yourself. And in that moment, you started to travel inside more. You started asking a question, who am I? What am I? What is all this? And the second you start asking that, you shift from the 3 dimension which you were born into to the fourth dimension,
mhm,
because now you're asking the grander perspective of what's really going on here.
mhm, mhm,
And when you do that, you start to tune yourself, shift your reality to the solutions. So right now, this could be one of those manifestations for you listening to us here right now. And you start to get more and more of these synchronicities that come to you that supports you on your journey of realization, your journey to walking you're being walked home. You're going back to the light. We're all going back to the light if you're here right now, okay?
mhm, mhm,
And so that's the oneness that is you. Now if we are one and we are separate. Both things are true, just the perspective you're looking at, right? And when we took the perspective of we are separate, we had more fear. We took actions out of, oh, is there enough for me? Or,
mhm,
these sort of beliefs that weren't really ours. They were given to us by the people around us. They weren't our bags. And so what we're inviting you to do is to let you know that you don't have to carry those bags anymore. You can put those bags down. You don't have to carry those. And meditation helps putting those bags down and then pick up some new ones if you want. And I think it's the best way to do this that I've found is to make choices. Make choices in your life. Let's say if we bring it to money, let's say you want to be worry free from money. I want to have to never worry about money again.
mhm,
Some might have called it financially free. Okay.
mhm,
So what you do then is you choose to and you phrase it positively. I choose to be 100% confident about my money situation now. I choose to feel how worthy I am right here, right now. By the way, what makes you arrogant enough to think that you're the only non-worthy person down here? That all the animals, that all the trees, they get rained on with the sun and the infinite food and all the rest of it, but you're the only one who's the exception to the rule, and you're not worthy enough, right? So you drop that belief and you pick up a new one. I choose to feel how worthy I am, and it's a feeling, because everything is being reflected back to you the way that you feel. So I don't go to see those Hollywood movies anymore, because I know that I'm a portal of consciousness, and consciousness is traveling through me. And if I go to the movies and expose myself, my portal of consciousness, to something that I might not prefer to have in my consciousness, then I'm going to play out those types of timelines and realities. So I
Ooh,
choose to pull my energy back. Now, I'm not scared of them. I can go to a movie and I can still see the value in it and appreciate the entertainment and the laughs and the
right,
sexy people on the screen. I'm still here, a human. Okay. I'm just saying,
right,
I don't have a TV in my house. I have a nice computer, but because I
right,
want to skip that stuff, I don't want to see what's on the Prime Video, like getting people to click on the fearful stuff. I don't need that in my
right,
life. It has no
right, right,
value for me here. So I dropped it.
right.
And
No, you didn't. It's actually you made me feel good, because over the holidays, one of the things everybody does, I was with my family, is, hey, we go to the movies, right?
sure.
And some of the family went to one movie, some went to another movie, but I went to the new Aquaman movie.
Cool.
And although it was a spectacle, and I could, like you said, I could appreciate certain aspects of it,
Yeah.
I just like, I don't like movies. I was like, I
Yeah.
just like, this is like, and also same thing. I haven't had television, for many, many years. Yes, I
Cool.
have the internet, and I have
Yeah.
access to entertainment, and I do, I will say, I do indulge sometimes in things, Squid Games or something like that,
Yeah.
um but it's definitely different to me now. I don't enjoy it the way I used to. It's
Yeah.
like I enjoy it, but I kind of feel a little dirty sometimes when it's something like that. Obviously, when it's something more wholesome and the message is love, and the content,
Yeah.
the intention behind it is different. It feels a different way. But no, I think that's great advice, and I think that is a part of why people feel the way they do, because
Yes.
of the things that they consume.
One of the things that I felt from the things I was consuming was a state of lack. It was
Mm,
like, "Oh," and this is, like, normal to a monkey race, and when I say monkey race,
mhm.
w we are a mixture of DNA from a whole bunch of things that I don't think mainstream even has any, they don't talk about it, okay?
Right, right.
And so what I'm suggesting is that our junk DNA is not junk, and that it's really real. And when you start thinking happier thoughts, you start putting things in your body that have more light in them, like the green things,
Yeah.
and you start giving with your heart, you light up your DNA and you become fully expressed as the being
Mhm,
that you came here to be.
mhm.
And I don't know why went there with that, but that was just sounded like what I
No,
need.
that's great. I wanna kind of talk a little bit about this. I feel like there's this. I don't know what the right word is, and you can see I'm very intentional with my words.
Yeah,
Let me digress a little bit. I love what you said about, you weren't trying to insult me because I had used the word trying. I'm trying to do this.
got it.
And I love that you said that, and kind of called me out, because I do feel like, you know, I, I try. There I go.
Yeah,
And actually I don't try. You know what? I just realized, there you go. That might have been the fix. I
yeah.
do intentionally choose my words.
Yes,
I'm not always successful, which
yes,
is why I guess I use that word try, but that doesn't mean that I'm not doing it, right?
yeah,
I'm not trying, I'm actually doing. I'm
yeah.
intentionally thinking about what I'm saying, and
And
what it means to a reflection of me. When I say that I'm doing something, or not doing it, that's really important to my own subconscious, like you said.
yeah,
I love it. I love, and
choice. It's
Joey.
all choice. I choose
Mhm.
to
Joey says,
unlearn it. Yeah,
change
it's
to
it's not
unlearning. I
to
like that.
walk on eggshells around it. Your
Right.
words. It's just to get conscious. Because
Mhm.
do whatever you want. Just do it consciously.
Right, right, right. I get to. I get use the word I get to. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love all of these different tools, and that's what these conversations are great for. It's like, I'm trying to navigate this situation, or I'm in the middle of navigating this. I'm not trying to. I'm navigating it. Right?
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm seeing it now. I'm saying it.
Yes.
As I'm saying it, I'm feeling, oh, you know what? I'm not trying. I am. I'm
Yes.
navigating this, and I love that we can all exchange different perspectives, different words
Yeah.
that make it click. It's all of a sudden it's like, oh, that is right. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And it makes you feel better about
Feels like
yourself.
truth.
Yeah, truth, totally, totally. And then Tamara is saying, so being inauthentic could possibly suppress genes from turning on. Oh, I love that. For example, one might age slower because they are 100% authentic and seeking their highest joy from one moment to the next.
Oh,
I love that. That is so true. I'm 57 years old, and people are always like, "What? What do you mean?" And I'm like, I'm just, I don't believe in age as a number and a representation of,
yeah.
what you should look like or be, you know what I mean? So I feel like that affected the way I did
Mhm.
get older. And, I mean, you're becoming more aware, and I love it. Um, we didn't even really get to talk about finance as much as I would have liked to. So I may have to invite you back, and we may have
Yeah.
to talk specifically about that, and specifically about crypto and investing and that kind of stuff, because I know that you actually offer a lot of information for free. I have the website running down at the bottom of the website. I did have it
Yeah.
open before.
Yeah.
Let me just open one and share that window, because I love to show it visually as well. So let me just go over here. Boom.
I think the biggest thing that I can share is
Hmm.
just that everything is you, right?
Hmm.
And so if let's say you just take something fun, you want a vacation, and let's
Hmm.
say you go online and you find that the vacation is $5,000. And
Hmm.
so you're like, okay, now I need to go and figure out how to get $5,000, right? Well,
Hmm.
it's mirroring you back to you. So what if you have something that you love doing? You just love doing it, whatever it is, playing an instrument,
Hmm.
rearranging leaves in the corner of the room. It doesn't have to be a big thing, okay? And you
Hmm.
just do that. You choose that in the now. And then the next now you have a choice. Do I want to go for a walk? Do I want to call my friend Michael? I do the one that is the highest excitement. And you keep doing that. And what happens is you end up matching the frequency of that vacation. Now that
Hmm.
you'd be as happy as you were as if you went on the vacation. I
Hmm.
don't need any vacations. My life is a vacation, okay?
Right.
And so by matching that frequency, then you realize it. It becomes aware to you. Now somebody could give it to you.
Hmm.
You could have something to trade with somebody.
Hmm.
Money could pay for a part of it, and something else could pay for something else.
Right.
There's a million ways that vacation can come to you. You may think it needs to be on a cruise ship across the world, when really, like, having your own place in the city you're in with the people that you love without having to do work is good enough. Like, you just get flexible with it, and it gets flexible with you, and life just gets super fun. And money is the exact same way. The best
Mm.
way to get at this is to take money off the table, because most people have thought a lot of thoughts about money that has
Mhm.
really crisscrossed them a lot over the years. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
just take money off the table. Get thankful for the abundance of air
Right.
that's here. Get thankful for the abundance of smiles you see on the screen right now. When you smile, the world smiles back. Remember that
Right.
saying? It's like
Yep,
that with
yep.
money too.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And you know what? That's what one of the things I love about this show, which just kind of, happened. I'm a production guy, right? I'm always behind the camera, and I've always been that way,
Oh,
very,
cool.
very intentionally. And I never wanted to be in front of the camera. And as I was doing what I do, I was producing a show for Jesse Blaze, a friend of mine, and
Cool.
and it was like a limited 13-week thing. It was like a course he was doing. And when he was done, he's like, I really like this. Let's do this some more. Why don't you be my co-host? And because I knew he was so charismatic and confident on screen, that that made me comfortable to be like, all right, sure, I know I'll be safe, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
actually brought out this element in me to be able to ask people questions and have these conversations, because I really love that.
Cool.
I mean, there's so much deeper stuff that we just skim the surface of, about how language is such a limited set of a tool, to
Yes.
communicate, but that's what we're using here. and
Yeah.
and I love that challenge, because look at how we've met it. today. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
really we use language, and I think we expressed a lot of really good ideas, and I
Cool.
think our vibe was there. So I got to thank you so much for saying yes to this, and I hope you'll join me again during 2024. You know, that's this year. I really want to do something special with the show. I'm figuring that out right now, and I'm making that happen. So
I
please
love
come
it.
back.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. And you're 57 years young. You could live to be nowadays 257. So you
Yeah,
know, you're not even a quarter of the way there.
you're right. You're right. 57 years old isn't even the word I wanted to use. I've been around for 57 years, and I'll be around for as many more as I need to be
Yeah.
until I feel like I'm done and ready to reconnect. Do you have any simple words of wisdom for my audience before we put you in the green room and say goodbye?
I am you and you are me. So whatever I give to you, I give to myself. And the same is for you. Whatever you're giving to the people around you, you're giving that experience to yourself somehow.
I love that. Oh, great. Perfect. Like I just needed a short one, and that was it. Very
Uh,
cool.
thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the back, and I'm going to say goodbye, and I will
Okay.
talk to you in just a minute. All right.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Let me do what I do occasionally when I feel like this is successful, which is take a nice deep breath in, feel it, appreciate it, the moment. That was amazing. I loved that. I am so grateful for this show and the ability that it gives me to connect with people like Shaboogiemax, Neil, who are just amazing examples of how this planet can survive through love and awareness of what you guys, how you interact with other people. I'm opening up my calendar here to see who is on next week. And next week I have a frequent visitor to the show. Helen Wagner is going to be my guest. So anybody who's seen Helen in the chats and is curious to know more about her, she's going to be my guest. This is going to be a good one. We're going to be able to get a little peek into her world and show her our love and feel her love. So I'm excited about that. Brett Burton is out there telling us he enjoys using profanity in a joyous way, and he doesn't beat himself up about it. And to that I say, fuck yeah. Awesome. Very cool. It's interesting. There are some people I know who say that profanity is low vibration, but I think you have used your power there to change that vibration of it because of the way you're intentionally using it. I think that's awesome, and I wouldn't have even thought that thought unless you had said that comment. So that's pretty cool. Tamara, thank you so much for being here. You enjoyed it. If you like this show and this conversation, please subscribe. I don't usually say that kind of stuff, but I think that's important to know. Like this platform and this moment will only grow if you support it. So comment and like and subscribe and share and all those things, and it's much appreciated. Shaboogiemax said it best. I am you, you are me. That is just such a beautiful way to think. Happy New Year, guys. It's going to be 2024 when I see you guys next. So Happy New Year. I love you all. It's been an amazing, amazing year. So thank you for being here with me, and peace.
What is consciousness? What is consciousness? The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question that has captivated human minds for centuries. Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the